everyone, it's Liz, the Frugal Libertarian. I have kind of a idea that some people might not be comfortable with to talk about today. And that is property taxes. Property taxes are one of the oldest forms of taxation, and they are one of the technically totally legal idea of taxation. Basically, property taxes fulfill the idea that the taxes are universal, that everybody, they're both universal and voluntary. If you buy something, then you pay tax on it, and the tax you pay is equal, the proportional rate of it is equal to what everybody else pays. So it technically fits those requirements. However, there is one situation in property taxes which I only thought of recently and started kind of pondering it and philosophizing it and really formulating what I wanted to say about it. And that is the idea that there are circumstances in which property taxation is taxation without representation. It's true. And I started to think about it and think about the fact that this system is really kind of screwed up. I'll just give you a story. My husband and I used to be landlords. We owned a house in Rhode Island. It was a two-family. Originally, we lived in one apartment on one floor and rented out the other, and that's how we paid our mortgage. And then we moved here and we rented out both. When we moved back to Connecticut, we weren't voting in Rhode Island anymore, but both of our tenants were. So basically, our tenants were voting on the budget that determines the property tax rates when they weren't paying the property tax. We were. And we had no vote. We had no say in the taxation. None. I thought the same thing. The house we're in right now belongs to my family. Family members who don't live in this town. Now, me and my husband are good tenants who vote down the budget every time until it gets low enough. So we're the good kind of tenants that don't sit there and go, more money in schools, let's do it. But look at it that way. If we were those tenants, there's two of us voting based on this property who, again, don't pay the property taxes. So what if you're somebody who owns an entire apartment building, 4 apartments, 5 apartments, 6 apartments, and you don't live in that town? What's happening? All of the tenants in all of those apartments who are over 18 are voting. And they're voting on the budget and the property tax rate that the owner of said property will be subjected to, but has 0 say in it. And we wonder why taxes in America are so crazy. Taxes in Connecticut are insane. My town's property tax is the highest in this part of the state and keeps going up because they keep, oh, we need a new this, we need a new that, we got to replace this, oh, we need all this money for the schools, we need this for the schools, we're not going to replace the roads. We don't think the road repair is an important problem. We think the brand new police department building, oh, that is so much better than, fixing potholes. Look at it that way. This is one of the oldest forms of taxation, and yet it is a form of taxation where those who aren't subjected to the tax, at least at a large scale, if they own a vehicle, they're being subjected to the tax. If they have something like that that's a property, that's considered property and is taxable property, they're paying the tax. I have to pay personal property taxes for my business, my violin lessons, so I do, and we pay them on our cars. We are subjected to this tax rate. But again, that's peanuts compared with the housing property taxes. You're talking about $1,000 cars property tax versus houses. It's apples to oranges. So what you have is the people who will benefit from this reallocation of wealth. People who, again, aren't paying the taxes on the property, but they benefit from the programs that those taxes are being collected to pay for. So what are they going to do? You think they're going to sit there and go, you know what? the school administrators are making too much money as is. I know that the teacher salaries are set by the union, so the idea that this will somehow trickle down to my kid's teacher isn't true. You know, I don't really see the point of building a new building here. I don't see the point of adding this to this. You know what? I'll vote it down. You know, how many people versus our kids go to that school. They need all the money they can get. Vote that up. Vote that up. Think about it. It really is a system where the old rule, which was to vote, you had to own property, kind of made sense. And please don't hate me for saying that. But it really does. It doesn't if you're the person who's going to sit there and benefit from all the benefits you're going to be getting now that that wealth is being redistributed and you're benefiting from it. Yeah, then you're sitting there going, well, I shouldn't have to own property to vote. Yeah, you shouldn't have to own property to vote for things like elections. Yeah, you're right. There's no need to have property. Renters can vote for governor, they can vote for town selectmen, they can vote for Congress, both state and federal. There's no reason that any of that kind of voting should be restricted. But when we start to talk about property tax, it's kind of a screwed up system. It's a system where the people, again, who don't pay the property tax amounts, maybe you might see it increase in your rent, but the reality is there are caps to how much landlords can increase the rent in a year. So if the property tax in the case of Bridgeport, Connecticut, just jumped, their property tax mill rate jumped up out of nowhere, and then the people are stuck there and they can't sell their house because A, it's Connecticut, B, it's Bridgeport, and C, now it's got a massive tax bill attached to it, and yet they're expected to come up with the money for this. And the homeowners are furious, but you don't see the tenants sitting there going, oh my God, that's horrible. No, because they don't care. They're not paying the increase. The landlord is paying the increase. The tenant isn't. And keep in mind, again, I'm a tenant. I do not own this. I just look at it, again, from a subjective way of, how is that fair? How is that equal rights? How is that fair? You're looking at people and saying to them, and I understand people sitting there and like, well, if you're the biggest landowner in the town and you're voting, you control most of the power. Well, why would they get to vote for every individual property? They should be able to vote on the town budget, one vote, like everyone else does. You don't live here, and so that's the argument. Well, you don't live here, so you can't vote for the things that happen in the town. But you don't have to live in the town to be subjected to the taxes. You just have to own property there. Why is that not an acceptable meter for voting on town budgets? Why? So it's this whole contradictory system. We're sitting here saying no taxation without representation, that, you know, but then at the same time we're saying, well, but if you don't own property there, you can't vote. What's the difference? What do you guys think? Is this something you've ever sat there and thought about? Were you a tenant who felt the way that we do and kind of sits there and goes, that's too much money? I don't think so. Or do you own a house and sit there and go, I don't think so? Have you ever thought about the fact that, I mean, that's why there are towns where people get really mad that they put in condos, because that drives up everybody's taxes around it, because there's lots of people in a small amount of space, and a lot of them are families, so they've got a lot of kids who are demanding free education. It's a bad system. That's all I'm saying. And this isn't something that's really being put on the political table at the moment. It's not something I've seen a lot of people complain about. If you guys have ever heard anybody else talking about this and complaining, let me know, because I would be honestly happy to join in a movement about this, because I just don't think it's fair. I don't think it's fair. I don't think it's equal. And those two things are not mutually the same. Those things are not the same concept. They're not mutually exclusive. But it just, to me, it seems like a bad system. And everybody sits there and says, well, when you had to own property to vote, that was horrible. You're right. You should have representatives, even if you don't own a house, you don't own land. You should have representatives in the government. That makes sense. But to say to the people who do own the land, you don't have the right to vote on the things that affect your property, that seems screwed up. That seems screwed up. And again, it wouldn't be a, well, I own 6 houses, I get 6 votes kind of thing. Just let them have 1 vote. But again, I think that's kind of set up by people who are politicians, who are kind of power and money hungry, who kind of want the tenants to kind of sit there and go, me, 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 yes, 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 because then they get more money, more power, more control. So they're kind of like, yeah, we like that system. We don't like the way it used to be, which was, yeah, you had to have property to vote. No, we don't like that. It's something, like I said, that's kind of stuck in my craw for a while, and I've been sitting there and kind of just thinking about it. And yeah, that's kind of how I've been feeling. Thanks for watching this video. I really appreciate you guys who come and watch and comment. It really helps me get feedback and see what you guys like and what you don't like, and see where everybody's mindset is. So I will talk to you soon. I hope you're having an awesome day. Take care. Bye.